Just like he wants it to break, right? I can tell he's upset. I've told him I'm going to do it in one step. I'm not going to clarify my butter. I'm not going to froth my eggs. He wants it to fail. And he said, I love hollandaise. Hollandaise is my favorite sauce. I'm like, shit. So I'm going to go to make the hollandaise. It worked perfectly. He goes, oh, it's pretty good. I'm like, I know. My stuff works all the time, most of the time. So this is my omelet. So I have 3 eggs here. Got a little bit of butter. Ooh, that was a close one. So now I'm going to switch it to Fahrenheit. And I'm going to do, did I switch it to Fahrenheit? Come on. Settings, Fahrenheit. So I'm going to do 228 degrees. So I'm going to set it to 228 degrees. And we're just going to let it come up to temperature on fast. I don't need to screw around with slow, medium, or fast because I just want heat now. And when I add the butter to the pan, it'll cool it enough. So we presented to McDonald's, and I wanted to do something fun for them. I was like trying to figure out what to do, so I wanted to do an egg white omelet. And I wanted to do an egg. It's like Cousin Ed. These are not the droids you are looking for. Put that back over there. I want to do an egg white omelet, and funny enough, 228 degrees is also the perfect temperature if you're going to cook an egg white omelet or a whole egg omelet. It doesn't matter. I tested like a whole case of eggs, like you have no idea. And of course, because like, I don't know, I was cooking at like 11 o'clock at night, instead of doing this during the day, I'm like testing omelets like all night long, kicking a case of omelets, and I ended up where I started. So, fun fact, egg white omelets cook at the same exact temperature that whole egg omelets do. So I add a pat of butter once we get to temperature. I add a knob. Funny, when I was doing this demo for Roland Passat, at this time I hadn't quite like nailed this technique yet. And I used Pam on the nonstick pan, and I put butter in the pan. And the guy goes, why do you use butter? Or why do you use the Pam too? And I was like, for insurance. And the chef in the back goes, so the butter doesn't stick. I was like, this guy brought his jokes too, okay. So we'll just let the butter melt. Cut my probe cord here. All right, so we're at 228 degrees. Now, what I do is, so in here I've got 3 eggs, an ounce of milk, and a pinch of salt. So I add the product to the pan, and I stir it just until the curd is stopping filling in the kind of where my spatula has been. Now, I was on the quest for a while when I was developing this recipe to have a no-stir omelet. I wanted you to put the eggs in the pan, and you have a perfect omelet. I chased that for quite a while, but there were problems in that method. You got a really like thin omelet. It wasn't great. So you need to do a little bit of stirring. So right now, like it's kind of like stopped filling in all the gaps. My trick, I use a lid, and this gives me, whoop, I turned the temperature up. We want to go for a minute here. I use a lid because it builds a little bit of steam and it cooks the egg that's sitting on top just a little bit further. If you're like hardcore French dudes and you want the bavous omelet or however you say it, whatever, you could just do this with the lid off, but I let it sit for a minute and then we'll roll it up. So we're working with LSG Sky Chefs, they're the #2 food producer for airlines in the world, on items for their Polaris Lounge. And they wanted to have, the idea is potentially that they can have a control freak in their lounge where someone just hits the omelet program and they're at the correct temperature, it has the timer waiting, they add the eggs, stir it, they can talk to the guests, they can be personable, they can do this at the action station, and it's all magic. It's all being done for them. So, I have 10 seconds left. Big reveal. I did this for like in front of like 300 people in Cleveland for an ACF demo, and it stuck to the pan so bad. I don't even remember like what joke I told. I'm like, I gotta figure something out. Like I just knew. Like I knew. I didn't bring any cookware. I was using their cookware. It was all scratched up. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna come out. And I should have just not done it. But why would I have done that? And it stuck horribly. But so you have a perfectly cooked omelet, no browning, and if you're like Roland, you can take the spoon and check the interior of my omelet, and it's just set. It's just set. It's a perfect omelet, and anybody can crank this out. This is Conrad's glory moment on Mother's Day.
Totally.
And then you can put hollandaise sauce on it.
You can put the hollandaise sauce on it.
Which, if you take
Which
a look,
also
it's
doesn't
still
make
holding.
me work with a double boiler because I don't know how to do it.
And my sauce, it's like when Bill Murray pulls it in the table in Ghostbusters when they're trying to catch Slimer. He's like, and the flowers are still standing. The sauce is still holding. That's all I got. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. See, my YouTube stardom is growing. Everybody's gonna be posting this, sharing it. I'm gonna be like Chef. What was his name? What's to do with the beard? No, the John Favreau. I'm gonna be blowing up on Twitter. I got 500,000 followers over midnight.
In the event that you went over the minute time, or I mean, have you ever just let it sit there to see what
Yeah.
happens?
So it will. Uh-oh. You want to take that? Yeah. Just in case. I have, and it'll dry out. I actually think now, so this works like every single time, but you see like it started to crack a little bit. I don't know if that's due to thickness of the omelet or that it's too hot. I can tell you 236 is too hot. So the difference between 228 and 236, I wish I would have brought another thing. Come by the booth tomorrow if you guys are around. We'll cook one that's too hot and it's just dried out and disgusting. Like this is like the window for perfection between 228 and 236. You can go down as low as 222, but that's like if you're like, rolling and you like runny egg and just like leaking on your plate. You can go as low as that, but I wouldn't go lower.
Even lidded at 222, it won't set up. It'll still stay running.
No, it does lit up, but he just does it.